I had no spiritual background at all, no religion at all. My family were not religious, not spiritual.
That's religious.
Apart from football. Football was the only religion in my family. We never went to church, we had no beliefs. No. Well, it was a normal state school. It wasn't religious, but we did sing hymns and say prayers in the morning. But it was only very nominal. It wasn't really religious. It wasn't connected to a church. So there was really no religious input at school. Even though we sang hymns or said prayers, we didn't believe them. I didn't sort of pay. I didn't look into the meaning of them. I didn't believe the meaning of them anyway. I didn't believe in God. I didn't have any interest in religion. So there was no religion at school either, really. Well, yeah, probably in my late teenage years, I started to think about things like this. And for a long time, I was suspicious of the idea that there was an afterlife, because I felt antagonistic towards religions like Christianity, and I felt that the idea of an afterlife was a consolation, was like an illusion which acts as a consolation for the difficulties in this life. And I felt it was an escape from reality. I felt that people were deluding themselves if they believed in the afterlife. And also, at that time, I was quite interested in science and existentialism, existentialist philosophy. So I like the idea that this life is the only life, because if you believe in an afterlife, it takes away value from this life. If this life is the only life, then it becomes more precious and more meaningful. Whereas if you believe that there is another life afterwards, then you can reject or neglect this life. So that was the viewpoint I had. Probably when I was in my early 20s. It's difficult to know where it came from, but I started to be interested. I went to meditation classes. I don't know why, but I felt drawn to practice of meditation. I went to meditation classes. I started to read spiritual books. I was very attracted to. I remember seeing a book in a bookshop entitled Mysticism, and for some reason I thought, oh, I've got to buy that book. And I bought it. I didn't really understand it, but I understood little bits, and I really felt drawn to it. So it was totally unconscious, really. It was as if something was already inside me which was emerging, and I also felt very, very connected to nature, and I felt very. I enjoyed being alone and being quiet. I enjoyed silence and quietness. So it was sort of a natural process.
Wow.
No, I still feel, I think I have a basic level of spirituality which is already there, but I still feel it's something I need to enhance or work on to some degree. So I like to meditate as often as I can, ideally every day, but I don't always do it every day. I like to do yoga, but I do feel like I'm, it's something where it's an ongoing process. It feels as though it's not finished. I need to keep moving, and I feel as though I am still moving. But I've got 3 young kids, so life's quite stressful, quite demanding. So, although I feel that's a kind of spiritual practice too, because it's like an act of service. When you have young children, your whole life is dedicated to service. You do everything for your children. You have to forget yourself. It's self-sacrifice. So that's a kind of spiritual practice too. Well, I think it may help me prepare for the afterlife. I think the state of consciousness I experience in deep meditation or in mystical experiences, I think it's very similar to state of consciousness I'll experience when I die. I think it's a taste, if you like, of the euphoria and liberation of leaving the physical body. I'm not sure if I really get anything from it. It's just, it's not a choice, you know, it's something which I do and I have to do. It's really deeply ingrained inside me. And it certainly gives me a sense that my life is a process, an ongoing process, and not finished. It gives me a sense that I have the ability to transform myself. And I suppose it gives me a sense that happiness does not depend on external things. Happiness is always, well-being is also always inside. So it's always accessible. You know, if you think happiness is outside, it's not accessible unless you do certain things or you win certain things or achieve certain things. But if well-being is inside, it's always inaccessible. So I suppose that's quite comforting to know that well-being is always there within me. You know, even if it's covered over with some stress or frustration or whatever, it's always there, and I can always make simple steps to gain access to it.